Here's a video of my Ruger 1022 Takedown in stainless. Well, first of all, the rifle comes with this bag. I was expecting a much cheaper quality bag, but this is a very, very nice bag they send with the rifle. It's got padding on all layers. All the pockets are padded. This top one is just an open pocket, and you can put tools, ammo, paper, whatever you want in there. Fold up your targets, stuff them in there, whatever you like. Its bottom pocket is mostly open, but it also has separators sewn in there. And that's for the BX25 mags you can get aftermarket for this rifle. There's a number of types of banana mags that hold 25 rounds. I think there's even 50 round drums and maybe even 100 round drums for this little rifle, but I'm happy with the 10 round mag for the reason that it doesn't hang down. It's very compact. I can get spares of these and just stuff them in my pocket and I'm all set. I can reload these pretty quick and it fits flush on the stock, and I'll show that later. Two handles on the bag, nicely padded there. A shoulder strap with a pad. Rings all over the bag, so you can configure that handle however you like, or strap this bag itself to the back seat of your pickup or your van, or hang it in the trunk, whatever. Really good setup. The main body zippers on the bag can be locked. Got these little holes there that you can put a small padlock through. So if you have this bag with your rifle in it sitting at the cottage or at the house in the closet, and you don't want curious little hands to get in there, let's say you've got an optic in there and you don't want them getting into that and damaging it, throw a little lock on the bag and that'll kind of slow things down a bit. Now the rifle comes with a very secure lock system, I should call it, really. There it is. It's a steel bracket, so when the rifle's pulled apart and you got the bolt lock back, this mechanism goes on, padlock runs through it, and nobody can mess around with that without having the key. Pretty hard to get past that. Really nicely done. Cheers to Ruger. Include that with the rifle. Instead of just some cheap cable lock or whatever. Really did a nice job with this rifle. They just everything showed forethought in what they did. This top rail comes with the rifle. It's not as nice a finish as the rifle, so really you don't want to put it on there unless you're going to use a scope. Now, I ordered a scope for this rifle while I was waiting for the rifle to arrive. Once I saw the sights on this rifle, I really regretted bothering with a scope. Now that I have it and I've kind of got everything all mounted on, I'll probably leave it on, but you don't need it. The sights that come on this rifle are beautiful, and I'll show you them in a minute. Actually, I'll show the mag too. This is why I like the mag. This 10 round mag. Flush fit 10 round mag. How do you beat that? So that's why I like this. The banana mags, you know what? Like I said, they're fun, but they kind of hook forward and they come down to about here. And if you're stomping through twigs and brush or whatever, and you have this on a pack or slung across or you're carrying it, it's just another thing to get caught. And honestly, if something's going to get caught and break, that's what it's going to be, that stupid mag hanging down. So just not having it there is probably the best way to deal with it, I figure. Because that's what I use this rifle for. This is my slug through the brush and just kind of have with me. This pocket, of course, again, all kinds of padding on the pockets. This top portion is the fore-end barrel assembly. You can get tactical ones for here with a bit of rail on them, I think. I'm really not interested in hanging more stuff on it. As you can see, the sights flip up, and they are pretty nice. Here's the Front sight, nice gold bead, very clear. You get an idea. I can't even see, but anyway, there they are. Good solid sights, fold down if you do want them out of the way, particularly when you're stowing it away. There is a third pocket specifically for an optic. Typical 22 optic I have for it. Inexpensive, nothing spectacular. But as you can see, this pocket will handle a full-size, ridiculous optic for a 22. It's way more room than you need. I really have no idea what you would want to use this for, but you could even get boxes of ammo in there or whatever you want. Rifle goes together very, very smoothly. This is the big show right here. This is really what I want to show about this rifle. That. Look at that lockup. That's just beautiful. Now, you can adjust the tightness of the lockup with this ring right here. And my suggestion is don't do what I did. What I did was I got the rifle, I snapped it together, went, oh wow, that's great. Took it out, mounted the optic, sighted in the optic, got the sight set all up, and then I decided I wanted to tighten up the lockup on it. Of course, when I tightened up the lockup, point of aim moved for the scope. The sights were fine. It didn't change anything for the sights themselves, but the optic, it did move. So all my work on the scope was kind of pointless, and had to shoot another couple groups to get it where I wanted. So get that adjusted up before you go too crazy. You don't have to turn it much. Just it's almost like clicks like the turret on a scope. You just need a couple turns here or there to tighten or loosen it up depending on how your fit is. Really easy to pull apart. You just pull that forward and you can turn it. You just get in there and you can even hear it. Hear how smooth that is. It's just beautiful. Cheers to Ruger. They really did a nice job with this rifle. You can tell I like it, eh? Anyway, the first 40 rounds I put through the rifle were very rough. I really didn't know what to expect at that point. And that was with the factory rotary mag. First 40 rounds, they were either weren't feeding out of the mag, or when they ejected, they would get pinned in here and basically stovepipe. Once I got through those 40 rounds, it smoothed up. All my problems went away, and since then, it's fed perfectly fine. Now also, after I put those 40 rounds through and got it running smoothly, I decided to take it apart and give it a bit of a clean too while things were going good. When I pulled this all apart in here, they'd coated all the inside with almost like a thick machine grease, like a packing grease, which makes sense. If this thing's going to sit in storage until it hits the end user, they don't want it resting up in there, so they put a good layer of this stuff on there. Well, I'm telling you, that stuff had all kinds of grit and whatever in it. So I think that had a lot to do with the feeding problems. So when you get these rifles, give them a good clean. Pull them apart and hit them with whatever your favorite gun lube is, Ballistol or G96, whatever it is you like and like to clean your firearms with. Go ahead and pull it apart and get it cleaned up before you do too much with it. And I think you'll be happier with your initial firing of it. Aside from that, since then, I've comfortably put over 1,000 rounds through this rifle with not a hiccup. And this is with a variety of ammo. Now, accuracy really varies according to the ammo, which to most isn't going to raise any eyebrows. Best first. These are all 10 round groups at 50 meters. They're Cci standard velocity 40 grain. If you walk into a Canadian Tire and ask for 22 long rifle, and when they ask you what brand, you just shrug your shoulders, this is probably what they're going to hand you is this stuff. And it is very, very accurate in this rifle. Just run-of-the-mill CCI. It's just a little over $8 for 100, I believe. Less than a 1-inch 10-shot group at 50 meters. Not bad. Not bad at all. Needless to say, this is my go-to ammo. I'm going to buy as much of this as I can and call it my happy day ammo. Blazer, which is a CCI bulk ammo product. Not too bad. It's certainly not nearly as good a group. It's a little higher velocity. Notice the point of aim moved up quite a bit. That other group is right in this zone here. There's that group. So you're going to have to take into account for this. Like I say, Blazer's a CCI product and it's significantly cheaper than the standard velocity. It usually goes for about just a little over $20 for 500 rounds. So it's pretty cheap plinking ammo. Again, it runs very smoothly. No problems at all. Nothing exciting to see there. Next up, another CCI product. Cci Stinger. This ammo turns this rifle into a different rifle, effectively. Really high velocity. It's about 1,700 feet per second with a 32 grain bullet. Pretty fast. Point of aim down here. Group up here. And that was after I just dialed down the scope. The first time I did it, I had the point of aim here, and the group was off the paper. It was up above it, and I maybe got a couple rounds hitting here, which told me what was happening. I was very confused for the first couple of shots. I was like, where are these even going? But yeah, really, really shoots high. Unbelievably so. So after I got that group shot, I think this is... I'm really not sure what you would use this ammo for. Hunting? Defense? I'm not really sure. It's 32 grain, hollow point, high velocity. I certainly wouldn't want to get hit by this stuff. I wouldn't want to get hit by any of this, but that stuff's a really really ouchy. This was, of course, again, after the scope. All the rest of these groups are after the scope was dialed down. This is an American Eagle. Similarly, it's kind of, it's on par price-wise with the Blazer. Availability bounces around between the two. If you can't get one, you can get the other kind of thing around here. Same deal. It's about $20 for 500 rounds, so it's inexpensive plinking ammo. And as such, the accuracy, it's a little higher velocity than the Blazer. So if you're going to go for a cheap, high-velocity hunting ammo, this would probably be the stuff you'd want to find. Cci Mini Mag. This, I believe, is about 1,350 to 1,400 feet per second with a 40 grain slug. Again, with the scope moved down, the group was again above what my point of aim was. So you wouldn't be able to switch between this and the CCI standard velocity. But it is reasonably close. So it's again, not a bad choice for a go-to high velocity ammo. But really, the difference in the group size and your point of aim, you might as well go for the Blazer high velocity or the American Eagle high velocity. I really don't think this is worth what you pay for it. So that's about it for the 1022. Obviously, I really like the rifle. I'd say it's probably the best money I've ever spent on a 22. I'd have to say it's one of those rifles that, now that I've managed to pick one up and done so, I will probably never get rid of it. I really don't see how they can really improve upon it. Just for curiosity's sake, I'll throw the optic on it so you can see what that looks like. More likely to see me fumbling around. And by the way, this holds zero. Just what I did right there. That for point of aim at 50 meters, it doesn't change anything. It could be off a tiny little bit, but you wouldn't notice it with a 50 meter 1-inch group. You really wouldn't. So this is very, very much viable to have the scope, take it off, use your sights. You can still use the sights with this base. It's a little bit of it does block your view a little bit, but it's certainly doable. Not enough for me to bother pulling off the scope base, and it allows me to use either or. And depending on the condition or what I want to do with the rifle, I can use a scope or not. There's room in the bag for the scope, so it works out pretty good. So these rings are a good thing. They're loopholed rings. They're worth more than the cheap Simmons scope. The scope was basically a $40 scope, and I believe these rings were something like $60 or $70. But they're worth it. They're a good solid ring. I like loopholed rings better than I do their scopes, to be honest. And with the mag in it, what a beautiful setup. Small, light, compact, carry spare mags, they flush fit. Beautiful little rifle. Cheers to Ruger. I'm very happy to own one. I think it was money well spent, and I would have to say this is one of these rifles that if you're going to have a 22, and pretty much everyone should have at least one 22, this would be the one to own, I would say. Hope you enjoy it. Have a good one.